Hi, I'm Ben Pearce, and can you believe it? I have been a people manager for 5 years. So I've been doing some reflecting lately, and I came up with a list of things that I've learnt, some key themes that I've learnt over the past 5 years, and I thought I'd share them. They might be interesting for people aspiring to be people managers, people new to people management, or even some of the seasoned pros, just as a little refresher. So the 5 key things that I've learnt that I'm going to share with you all. First one, be yourself, but with skill. Second one, people are people, not just results machines. Third thing I've learnt, set objectives, but then follow up on them. Fourth thing I've learnt, be an example to your team. And then the final thing, invest in your team's team spirit. So let me dig into those a little bit. So the first one I want to talk about is being yourself, but with skill. And this is something that has taken me a long time to learn how to do. I got the theory from day one and then was really bad at it in practice for I think a few years. So let me talk to you about why. So I went into my first people managing role being myself. The problem with being myself was that I'd never been a people manager before, and therefore I didn't have the experiences, the battle scars, if you will, of being a people manager. And so therefore I think I did things wrong that I could have done a lot better. So I think I went in and instantly got some battle scars where I was in some difficult conversations, some really emotionally difficult conversations, some difficult business conversations. And I think got some scars, got some wounds from that. And then, like a pendulum, I then swung too far into the skills that I'd learnt, and I think forgot to be myself a little bit, where the skills I was implementing were now right, but I think I was perhaps too businesslike. It was too much about executing the things I'd learnt and not enough about being me. And I think after a bit of experience, I've now got to a position where I can both be me, but I have learnt skills that I can apply, and I can be myself with skill. And that's been a really difficult thing for me to learn, an emotionally challenging thing for me to learn, but it's something that I think is absolutely vital. So what that now means is I can be my natural self. I'm quite an energetic chap, quite an emotional chap, but I've learned when I need to be a direct person, where I need a confrontation because it's the right thing to do, whereas naturally I would avoid that type of thing. Huge learning for me, huge lesson, and for me that's what authentic leadership is about. When you hear the buzzword authentic leadership, for me that's what it's all about. Second thing I want to talk about is that people are people, not just results machines. Now, of course, in business, we want to get results. Or if you're in a sports team, you want to get results. Or if you're in a band, a music band, you want to get results. You want the performance to be great. So results are really, really important. However, it's not just all about results. People are actually people. And as a people leader, we need to lead people. Now, what I mean by this is it's really important to remember to have fun. It's really important to remember to treat people with kindness. And it's really important to remember that where people feel valued, results are actually better. Now, I've found that as soon as I complete whatever target, whatever goal it is that we've got, there's always another one. There's always next month. There's always the next quarter. There's always the next financial year. And it's easy to just focus on results and forget about the journey, forget about the process. And it's been an Olympic year this year. It's fascinating to hear the athletes that don't talk about, winning. They talk about that they went through a process, they had their objectives, and they went through that journey, they went through that process, and as long as they executed what they'd planned, the result was almost irrelevant to them. And I find that's a really interesting mindset from somebody that's just won the gold medal for being the very best. So it's about enjoying the journey, remembering that people are people, and if you do that well, it's one of the things that contributes to results. So that's the second thing I've learned. Third thing I've learned, set objectives, but then follow up on them. And it's really the follow up on them bit that I've really learnt. So personally, I love the planning. I love coming up with the strategy. What are we going to do? How are we going to achieve what we need to achieve? But on that cold Wednesday afternoon in December, that's where I don't have any, I don't naturally have any governance. Can I be bothered to go in and really check that we're doing what we should be doing, check that the routines are going okay? But if you don't do those sorts of things, then of course you can be way off base and you don't get the results. So I've learnt it's really important to set clarity and direction. But for me, it's then really important that I put governance in place to make sure that we are doing the right things. And if we need to course correct and change our plan, we do it. So that's the third important thing that I've learned. Fourth important thing I've learned is be an example. Now, let me give you two examples of that. The first one I'm going to take is about work-life balance. And the second one I'm going to take is about personal development plans. So if you're leading a team and the example that you set in work-life balance is not a good one, it's very difficult for your team to then set a good work-life balance. I've found at times that I have got work-life balance completely wrong. Ultimately that has had, a negative effect on my physical health, a negative effect on my mental health. And I would say then that then transfers in some way to the team and has a negative effect on the team. And also my team see how I'm handling my work-life balance and they may well follow slightly, which then has a negative effect on theirs. And so what I've learnt recently is to get to a position where I'm happy with my work-life balance, where I can do the things that I want in my private life and the things that I want to deliver in my professional life, and I can balance them effectively, and I can share the tips and tricks I've got with my team. Now, if my team understand how important work-life balance is, then they are more likely to do it themselves. So that's one example. Another one that's more recent for me is personal development plan. So for years I had a rough idea of where I was going, but not a solid personal development plan. And it's really hard then to coach people in your team through that when in fact you haven't got one. And so by doing it yourself, by believing in it yourself, you can then coach people in your team much better. So two examples where if you set the right tone, the right example, then your team is going to benefit from that. And then the final thing I want to talk about is invest in creating team spirit. I am a huge believer that a team can achieve a lot more than a group of individuals. So often when the pressure is on to deliver results, it's easy to not invest in that team spirit. It's not, that you don't invest in collaboration. You don't invest in the team making sure that they know each other. That you don't invest in sharing and reusing the best things that people in the team have got. And ultimately, that reduces the performance of the team. But when results are required and you're under pressure, it's easy to forget that. But you do that and your results ultimately go down. So don't forget to invest in the collaborative nature of your team and the team spirit. So there you go, 5 things that I've learned in 5 years. Firstly, be yourself, but be yourself with skill. Secondly, people are people, not just results machines. Third thing, set objectives, but then follow up on them, put governance in place. Fourth thing, be an example to your team. They will listen and follow many of the bad things that you do. And then the fifth thing, invest in creating a team spirit. Hope that helps. I'm Ben Pierce.